Hello everybody, this is Lila in Hawaii. Did I tell you I love cottages? Anything to do with cottages, thatched huts, thatched English cottages, stone cottages, decorated cottages, plain cottages, and barns I just love. So I pulled out a few of my samples just to give you a little overview of how I go about some of them. When I do an embroidery like this, and this one is pretty much complete. It's a cottage that I drew, and I painted it with some watercolors and I think a little acrylic, and then it has a garden on each side of the path which goes up to the door, and some trees on either side of the cottage. The only thing I would say that's a hint when I make these cottages, to give them some dimension, I try and make the foreground a lot bigger than I make the background and let it recede, and so it looks like it's got depth. So that's one of the cottages that this one, which is strictly a painting at this point, and this one hopefully, I know it's a little bit dark, but by the time I've finished covering it with fabrics and stitchery, it will change the appearance quite a bit. So that's going to be another one. That's another thatched cottage. And then I have something similar that I finished. This particular cottage, this one, sort of a similar, but it has a more peaked roof. This was painted, this is on silk actually. This particular one over here was on cotton. So this is on silk, and at the top of it, I sort of did a cutout effect with this one. I have some crazy quilting around the top, and then the foreground with the flowers and so forth. But I cut a big oval in the center of the background, and I sort of applied that into the oval, so it's surrounded by decor, and then the cottage is receding. So that's that one. I'm also going to do a barn, and this was a New Zealand barn that I painted in a village near where I'm from. And this has an old wool barn. You can see some wool in there, and it's a wintry scene, as you can see. I think that'll make a very nice embroidery. I hope I don't mess it up, because I like to be colorful with my embroidery, but I think I'm going to try and keep it nice muted colors. So that would be that one, and that's just painted onto cotton as well. I also am doing some cottages that a friend sent me the photograph of, and this was an Irish cottage, and she took a photo. This is from my friend's photograph. I've printed this onto silk, and it was somewhere in Ireland. She's also sent me, very nicely, thank you Sigrid, she has sent me a bunch of photographs of cottages that she collected, particularly for me. This one I've just started, and I'm doing a different technique again. I've done some machine straight stitching and bobbin work here, and then I sort of pieced it around the side with fabrics that I thought kind of went with the theme, and then overlaid them with some lace scraps. So by the time I get finished with all the stitchery, the flowers, and the embellishments, buttons and jewels and whatever I put on, the decoration will be right around the edge, and the cottage really is finished. So I'll bring the camera so you can see that. So that's going to be my little Irish cottage. So that's just a little overview of some of my cottages that I'm working on. As I said, I do love cottages, I love barns, and anything that is quaint looking in the way of an abode. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.